2, Ward 3,
Fia Emirates, present.
Ward 4.
Fanny Roque.
Great, thank you. On the agenda this evening, I did it backwards. I did the Pledge of Allegiance and then I did the roll call, but it's okay. On the agenda tonight, we have under presentations, we have the Youth Council swearing in by Delegate Diana Fennell. We have the DC Charms ladies who we love you. And they will be donating a little free library for our town hall. And then we have Joseph Pruden from Congressman Glenn Ivy's office. We'll then have our consent agenda, which includes the approval of the minutes from June, July, and September. We then have on the consent agenda the department operations reports, which include the town administrator and public works, treasurer's report, public safety and code compliance, followed by the mayor's report, council members' reports and concerns, resident comments. Then the action is residents may provide comments after discussion and before vote for 1 minute on any of the following items under unfinished business, the Avio contract, and then the automated stop sign enforcement. Under new business, the fiscal year 2024 budget transfers. Added to that is the what? Oh, they're all three. They're all here. Yeah, but what's this a part of? This is just. Okay, so it's the fiscal year 2024 budget transfers, the acceptance and budgeting of the GOCPP PACT grant 35,000, request for a curb cut at 3413 39th Avenue, and then some budget adjustments in regards to grants that we've received and adding them back into the budget. And then after that, we will go into a closed executive session. Are there any questions? Are we good with the agenda?
Councilmember Emirates, I just want to clarify the closed session is to discuss a personnel issue. Thank you.
Okay. Do we need a motion to approve the agenda? Motion to approve the agenda?
Councilmember Emirates, Ward 3, I'll make that motion as stated.
Councilmember Ellis Pages, I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstained, opposed? Good. Okay, so we're waiting on one person from the youth council to arrive. So I'm going to ask that DC Charms come up. And so if you can come up to the mic. DC Charms is a local group, a social group for, is it only for women? Yeah, it's a social group for women. And what I love about the DC Charms ladies is that they host their bingo at our town hall. And I love bingo. But in addition to that, they've adopted our town for their giving back efforts. So they strongly believe in giving back to the community. And so this is an example of how they're giving back tonight. But in addition to this, they've donated to provide turkeys and turkey dinners for town residents. They provided, I don't know if you all remember last year, the pumpkins at the Newton Street Park for our Halloween event. They provided all the pumpkins. They've provided school supplies. I mean, they've just really, they've loved on Colmar Manor in a way that they necessarily have to. But I'm so grateful and thankful to them. So I'm going to invite you all to kind of introduce yourselves and then just give a little bit about what you all do.
Good afternoon. We are the Washington, D.C. chapter of Charms Incorporated, and we love Colmar Manor. We have talked about this Little Free Library for a long time, and we want to thank you guys for being here because now we have the opportunity to donate our Little Free Library to the community of Colmar Manor. So thank you for letting our dream come true. We have our Little Free Library here, and we have books to go in the Little Free Library, and we're just so excited. You cannot believe how excited we are for this. So here we are. Thank you so much. And
Yes. And can you guys give a little bit more info on DC Charms and what you guys do and what you do throughout the year?
Sure. I'm gonna turn it over to the historian to give the history of Charms Incorporated. So Charms.
Good evening, everyone. Charms Incorporated was started in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. A bunch of ladies got together after they put their kids down for the night in 1959, and it grew. We became chartered in 1960. We have 22 chapters across the United States. We have approximately 400 plus members. We have conclave every year, executive board on that alternate year. We meet usually Thursday through Sunday. We have meetings during the day. We have social events in the afternoon. We are a social, civic, cultural organization, and we usually donate monies to shelters. We have sickle cell that we've donated to our university and other organizations that we donate every other year. And we have a good time. Our husbands are, we are called charms. Our husbands are charmers. Our children are gems, grand gems, great grand gems. And we have a good time. So so Colmar Manor is a part of who we are. So we enjoy doing the things that will help us all to grow as a community. So yes, we have a coat drive coming up soon. So we're always happy to do events. And we have in our organization, we have the new chapter, Washington, D.C. We have 4. So we enjoy doing for Colmar, make sure that everyone's comfortable, and we just enjoy.
I just want to add that we were going to paint the little free library, but we thought it would be nice if the children got together and painted. So
That's on the back, and our Jim, Charm's son, Ron, surprised us all by engraving it on the back.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So we have a youth council that's going to be sworn in after this, and one of their first projects is to come over and meet the ladies, and then we take a picture. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is it possible that if we are for these around the community, would there be a way to receive them from you guys, or is that something we would have to procure through you?
Are you asking for library?
Yes. Yeah, how can we go about facilitating that? Let's work.
We're gonna get this one, and we'll work on the second one.
And the third one.
We have that basket bingo, which is our fundraiser. I'll invite all of your friends, and then we can get the second, third, fourth, and fifth. Okay. So remember, basket bingo, Mayor Monica, sell the little free library.
Hey, well, let's get up and first off, can we please give them a round of applause? And now I invite everyone to come and take a picture.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Printers? Yes, yes, we do. Yeah, we do. Yes, yeah.
Great. So just again, thank you so much. And you know that when you have bingo, I'm there. I'm definitely gonna join. I just need to get the form or just tell me where to go online and I'm gonna become a member. And I think you guys also go to like a casino, right? Yeah. So I'll probably be there for that too. Okay, great. So next on the agenda is the youth council swearing in. So a little feedback on the youth council to begin with. So when I was running for mayor, I was knocking on a lot of doors and I was speaking to a lot of residents. And one resident in particular said, he allowed me into his house and he's like, "Do you have anything for my son to do?" And I'm like, if he wants to help me knock on doors and get the word out and ask people to vote for me, then sure. He's like, "Okay, well, he's going to help you." And so then I asked his father, I said, "Well, are you registered to vote?" And he said, "I'm not registered to vote. I can vote, but I haven't registered to vote yet." And so I said, "Well, guess what? I'm going to register you to vote right now." And to me, what was the most impactful thing is that the first person he ever voted for in the United States was for me. And yeah, so so there was that, and then I started asking his son to be more involved. Now, this isn't rigged. Right? I'm not telling you this because it's rigged at all, but Justin has been very involved. He's the our our junior mayor, and he has been involved in every town event, everything that we do. Whenever we call and need his help, he's always there. And for a while, he's been asking for a youth council because he wanted to be the junior mayor. And I'm like, "Okay, Justin, like, well, just give me some time, like, we'll get it going." But it's hard to get something like that off the ground. And so somehow we managed, because we have a recreation coordinator, to have a meeting about the environment and start this youth corps. And so at that very meeting, we had an election to see who would be a youth mayor who wanted to be on the council. And we have these amazing young kids that live in town that want to be involved. And to me, once you get them involved, once they're doing something and they're engaged in their community, it's life changing. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But what they're doing now is they're changing their community. And I think they're also informing the adults as to what they want and what they see in their community. And I think that's something that is super important, to listen to the youth and to get them involved. So I'm going to ask the youth that have been elected to come up. And this includes Jason, Iris, Justin, Jeshua, and Soleil. So please come forward. And I have invited our Delegate Diana Fennell, and she is doing us the honor of swearing these amazing youngsters in.
First of all, good evening to everyone out here. It's actually an absolute honor, mayor and council staff, to be here. As you, some of you are aware, I am the former mayor of Colmar Manor, and to talk, to hear the mayor state in reference to the kids, being Colmar Manor Youth Council is wonderful because, as you can see, my two adults, I was just talking to Mr. Baden in reference to my young adults, Dejanay and Jeffrey, who went to Prince George's County Public Schools, also was always around doing things in the town of Colmar Manor. As you can remember, Tracy and Dan. Now they have their own nonprofit, which is called Good Intention. And also Jeffrey also volunteers for Senator Augustine, Julian Iyer, and myself. And it's a phenomenal thing to see these young kids that's going to be doing great things and who's going to be breaking the ceiling of the sky in the future, and also to be doing things in their community. I want to also say that I'm bringing my son Jeffrey Fennell, who's going to be reading, who's going to be my eyes tonight, because I do not have my bifocals, but we will be repeating after me. But we have a little message from not only the senator and Julian and myself that Jeffrey is going to read before swear you in. Okay, how about that? Is that fine? We're gonna have fun doing it, right? Okay, okay, Jeffrey.
Good evening, everybody. Okay. Today, we gather to celebrate the swearing in of the inaugural members of the Colmar Manor Youth Council. This moment marks the beginning of a new chapter in our community. Commitment to empowering our young leaders, the Youth Council will serve as a vital voice for our youth, providing fresh perspectives and innovative ideas to shape the future of Colmar Manor. As members of this Youth Council, you are stepping into a role of leadership and responsibility. You are a bridge between the youth and our community. And the decision makers who guide our town, your insight, passion, and dedication will help ensure that the voices of the young people are heard, that the issues and concerns that matter most to your peers are addressed. Through your service, you will learn, grow, and make a meaningful impact on Colmar Manor while also setting an example for future generations to follow. We're proud of each of you and excited to see the great things you will accomplish. Congratulations on this important achievement, and thank you for your commitment to serving your community.
Before we go on, council, to the mayor, council, to stand aside. This is a very important moment for these young children to be able to be sworn in as the Colmar Manor Youth Council. And you will repeat after me, okay? He will speak, but you will repeat. Well, you will repeat after him, and I'm going to say it, but I'm going to say it with you, okay? And you're going to raise your right hand. You comfortable with that? Comfortable with that? Okay. You want to raise your right hand? Okay. Okay.
Okay, you guys ready? I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully serve as a member of the Colmar Manor Youth Council. I pledge to represent the interests and voices of the youth in our community with honesty, integrity, and respect. I will work to promote positive change, engage in thoughtful leadership, and contribute to the well-being and growth of Colmar Manor. I commit to upholding the values of our town, fostering collaboration, and setting an example for my peers through my dedication and service. With this oath, I accept the responsibility to lead, listen, and serve for the benefit of the youth and the community as a whole.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
No, I can't because
Justin, I vote for you when you go for president.
Congratulations, Justin.
Congratulations. Big shoes.
Excuse me, while we line up for the picture, I just wanted to point out two things. One, we have a special surprise for the new youth council, and one additional relative of the youth council. Because of their commitment over the summer, the town received a grant from the governor's office of crime prevention last year, and allowed us to purchase tickets to the Nationals game coming up on the 28th against the Phillies. And it's Hispanic Heritage Night, and they're going to be giving out jerseys as well. And so if the parents of the youth council, not sure if they will be able to make it or not on that day, but if I put a piece of paper over here with a pen, if the parents could leave their contact information and which child is yours to help me out, we'll get in touch with you after the meeting to try to arrange all that for that Sunday game. Yeah, that's okay. And I just wanted, and the reason I added one additional member outside of the youth council was that Justin, Iris, and Iris's brother Uriel volunteered over the summer as interns with Town Hall. And between the three of them contributed over 550 hours of volunteer time. So this is the thing. So Uriel, you're part of this as well.
I'll send it to Monica and then she can text it to you. Okay. Or maybe the number she can send it to you. You have your phone? Yeah.
Yeah, and just, oh, we're taking a picture, okay, we're taking a picture. All right, are you guys ready for this? Yeah.
You can just text me. I'll text it to you.
Don't forget to get in the picture. Yeah. Wait for Justin, okay?
Okay, there you go, you just saved it.
Yeah.
All right, make sure you get a picture.
Are you all looking? Oh, that's nice.
Are we finished with the photos? You got it? You finished?
Con ella también. Yeah. Well, looking for research and receive like an award or something. Right.
Like the day she delivered.
Thank you so
Okay, so to the youth council. So we have already told you of two things. Thank you, Delegate Fennell. Thank you. Thank you, Dejanay. Thank you, Jeffrey. So we have two things for you. You are going to be tasked with painting the free little library, and then don't forget the baseball game. So for the parents, make sure to sign the sheet along with your telephone number and with the name of your child, so that we get permission to go on this trip to the Nationals game. All right, great. So next up on the agenda is Joseph Pruden from Congressman Glenn Ivey's office. Is he here on Zoom? Oh. Thank you so much for being here.
You know, there's an old adage in Hollywood, never work with children. And that also translates to if you can avoid it, don't follow children. Here I am behind these beautiful children and Delegate Fennell. Well, here I am. I always enjoy coming to Colmar Manor. I've spent many, many hours out there in the grass, sometimes just sitting and doing nothing. I've also been here for the delegates' annual events. Good evening, Mayor Casañas, council members, Mr. Holcomb, and especially the residents of Colmar Manor. My name is Joseph Pruden. I'm the Veterans and Military Affairs Liaison for Congressman Glenn Ivey. I also work as one of his field representatives. I thank you very much for allowing me to speak this evening. We just wanted to bring you up to date on some of what's going on in the Congressman's office. He wants you to know that the office is working hard for constituents this summer. We were able to bring grant funding for gun violence prevention, electric buses, and safer streets. There are many, many other dollars that came, and we will announce them as they become public. Additionally, we keep working with federal agencies to make sure that our constituents are taken care of and that their concerns are addressed. As always, if you need any help, if you have any constituent concerns, call our office at any time. We are here to help. I want to highlight a couple of items this evening. The first one is the app challenge. And for those of you who don't know what that means, ask your children, they'll tell you. But Congress has this challenge designed for high school students, but we'll accept application for others to design an app. Think about what you want to do with your computer, design an app, get it functioning and submit it to the Congressman's office. It'll be entered in a competition. There's a local competition and the local winners will then go to a national competition. We encourage everyone who has any talent in this area to please enter the competition. We know that we have many STEM students in this district. We know we have students who are working on their computers all the time. We know we have students who have the ability to do this. And we'd like to have a chance to highlight them and give them a chance to compete for scholarship and scholarship money. This is an important event that doesn't get a lot of highlighting in some neighborhoods in the country. We want to change that here and have our students to participate. Secondly, our office is now accepting applications for the military service academies. There are 5 of them. They are West Point in New York, the Air Force Academy in Colorado, excuse me, the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, which most of you are familiar with. We have the Merchant Marine Academy and the Coast Guard Academy. Congressmen are allowed to appoint up to 15 nominations per slot at these academies. It is highly competitive, and we want to make sure that our constituents are represented at each of these academies. There are some differences. If you want to go to the Coast Guard Academy, you do not need a congressional nomination. You just apply directly. But we are there to help you if you decide to go that route. I want to point out to you, especially your parents, some of the reasons why you might want to consider an appointment or a nomination or attending a military academy. First of all, the schools are all rated internationally. They're constantly in the top of all the schools. For a 4-year education at any of the national military academies, it's a $500,000 education. That's like getting a $500,000 scholarship. Plus, your meals are paid for, your clothing is paid for, your room and board is paid for. Everything is covered, and you get a stipend every month. In addition to that, when you graduate, you're guaranteed a job. Everyone who graduates from an academy has a job. It's a military officer, and you have a 5-year commitment, but you don't have to worry about where am I going to work after I graduate. And please consider this. There's no loan to pay back. You're done with that. The other thing is that everyone graduating from these academies comes out with a Bachelor of Science degree. You can move into other fields, including literature, English, physical education, medical field. You're not limited to just military, what we normally think of as military categories. All the fields are open to you. If you graduate from the Merchant Marine Academy, you can get a commission in any branch of the service, and you get the first part of your ticket to being a ship captain internationally. So it's something worth considering. We are spreading the word to the high schools around here. We have found that in the past, the issue isn't so much we don't have qualified students, it's that they don't know about it. So we're going to spread the word as much as we can. If you're interested or just want to get some information, you can call our office. You can go to the congressman's website, and you can just get information, or you can fill out an application. Let me go back for a moment. The app challenge, the deadline for that is October 24th. And the deadline for applications for this year's class at the service academies is October 18th. So 2 things to take back to your high school students, 2 things for our constituents to consider, 2 paths to a brighter, better future for all of us and our citizens. Thirdly, I want to remind you about the Community Project Funding Grant Program. This is a fairly new program where each congressman can go to Congress with a request from their constituents in the local municipalities for grant money. The difference in this program and others, it is much looser. You can apply for money for almost anything. The limits are different. The limits aren't set up front. So if you have a reasonable request for a grant that you think would be fulfilled by the federal government, in particular Congress, write the grant request. It can't hurt to do that. The worst that'll happen is they'll say no. And what have you lost? Some time filling out their grant request. I don't have a turnaround time. I was asked last night a turnaround time. I still don't know that, but I know it's fairly quick. And for those of you who know Ethan's sweet, you can call him and he may have a better handle on the turnaround time for that. But consider that also. Finally, tonight, I want to remind you that September is Suicide Prevention Month. And in the state of Maryland, for the first time, we have passed legislation that requires the governor to proclaim September 30th every year as Veteran Suicide Prevention Day. The program isn't just saying we need to prevent suicide. It is also a program geared toward high school students, provide them with information about how to handle stress, how to take care of themselves if they have a problem, how to help their friends if there's a problem. And the fastest way is the national number 988. We now know 988 as a suicide. It replaces the suicide prevention hotline, but it's also a stress resource. One of the best things that I found about this program is if you call there and speak to a counselor or someone else, they stay with you. They stay on the phone till you're comfortable getting off. If you call back for more help, you get that same person. So you don't start over every time explaining what's going on. And if someone calls for you, they do the same thing. So it's a worthwhile program. I'm going to leave with Mr. Holcomb the flyers for the app challenge and for the nomination for the service academies. Again, thank you very much for giving me this time. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them.
Are there any questions from the council?
I do want to applaud the Congressman's initiative in providing access to the Service Academy applications. I think many times when people look at the service academies, they are on par with Ivy Leagues across the country. People think that they are not able to get into the service academy because it is often seen as a school of privilege, but your presence is privilege enough to let our students know they have the opportunity to apply also.
They certainly do.
And as an ROTC graduate, just know there's ROTC too.
There are other ways to become an officer and a leader in the military. ROTC is one of the best. I am also a veteran, so I am very involved in this program, but you're absolutely right. It is competitive to get into these schools. Make no mistake about that, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't apply. Legacy doesn't exist. You're not competing with people whose parents gave them a leg up because they attended. You're competing head to head like everyone else. So please, please apply. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here tonight, and you're always welcome. So thank you for the wealth of information that you shared with us tonight, and we'll make sure to promote it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right, thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda is the consent agenda. So it is again, the approval of the minutes, the department operation reports. So if there's anything that you want to pull out or have any questions about, I'll give you a minute now to kind of take a look if you haven't already, but then I'll request a motion to approve the consent agenda. Yeah. Okay, I'd like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Councilmember Emmerich, I'll second that motion.
So I'll open it up for discussion. Any questions, any discussion items?
Yeah, I just have one question. We started this new fiscal year budget with a projecting $0. How do you phrase that? With no zero, a balanced budget. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Grid. As of right now, the first quarter, have we gone over budget? So we're still balanced. That's without going into our reserve funds.
Some reserves built into it, but that was planned at budget time.
Thank you.
Any other discussion items?
I think this is more of a discussion for another time when we can get a little bit more into it. But I think what would be helpful, if it's possible, with the treasurer's reports, would be to see what the anticipated budget is for line items for that given time period. Just because currently we're able to see sort of the expenditure from July through August, but then matched against the annual budget. And so it doesn't necessarily give us an accurate track on, or a clear sense of if we're on track for that or if we're deviating. But I think that's a longer conversation for probably one of our work sessions.
So are you saying that we should get this quarterly instead of at the end of?
No. I'm just saying that currently the actual expenditure is listed for the given time period, but the budget that it is going against is the full annual budget. So looking at the very first line item, real estate taxes, we have 20,639 that we've collected so far against our total annual budget of 1 million.
Right.
And so it would be helpful to have more of a sense of what the budget for July to August should be, or for the first quarter, something along those lines.
Looking at the budget, at a certain point in time. So the end of September will be 3 months into the fiscal year, which will be, 25% of the fiscal year. So if you look at the variance columns, specifically the last column, it shows the percent of budget that's been spent to date for each of those line items. So that's kind of a rule of thumb. You could look at that, say, at the end of September, are we 25% spent? Or are we over that or under that? And that gives you a good indication. Not everything falls in line with evenly paid out over the year. There's some things that are paid quarterly or yearly, like our insurance is paid yearly. So if you look at the insurance line item, you're going to see that's about 100% spent already, because we pay the insurance up front July 1st of each year. So most of the accounts, though, the regular recurring salaries, operating expenses, which are the majority of the budget, that would fall in line with the percentage basis.
Okay, thank you for that information. I was going to say, it was my understanding that some of our categories are not collected on a regular basis, and so I didn't know if it could necessarily be tracked by sort of chronology alone.
I'll add though, I can work with Mr. Baden too and the front office staff on some of the expected expenses that we have and calendarizing that out so that we can see where we're at. There's going to be things like public works, it's kind of a lump sum that covers potholes, tree removal, you name it, that we just don't know when it will happen. So maybe we just average that out for the 12 months and assume it's an average. But for things that we know, if there's a monthly bills, the specific bills we have, or if there's certain inspections that happen quarterly and there's a bigger thing that happens once a quarter only, I can work on that.
I think the takeaway is looking at the numbers, at what point do we reach where we can't spend anything that we have not budgeted, right? So at some point in the year, we're going to get to a point where, someone may ask for a donation of a certain dollar amount, and if we provide that donation while also achieving all the other things we've already budgeted for, we may go over budget. So I don't know at what point will we know that if we spend something that has not, at what point we should not spend any money outside of what we budgeted. Different conversation.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that though, any additional expenses you would add like a donation, you're amending the budget to do that. So you're already adding it in. But that's also then where the checks and balance of where Mr. Bate and myself come in. So if staff is trying to spend something in public works or something along those lines, that's where we're that first stop to say, no, we've reached the budget, we can't do that. And so the mayor knows all too well when I remind her, no, we don't have a budget for that. We'll have to work it into a plan to ask council to do something because it's not built into what we have. And trust me, Dan will stop me or us if the budget isn't in alignment.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'd like to go ahead and do a roll call vote. Actually, do we even need a roll call vote for the consent agenda? No, so I'm just gonna request that we vote yay or nay on approving the consent agenda. So all in favor, say yay.
Yay.
Yay. All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Next up is the mayor's report. So just give me a quick minute. Is this, yeah, the screen is up. All right, just give me a moment to load it up. Yeah, or the mayor. And I'm sorry, while I'm loading it up, so Lourdes Sulk is here from Park and Rec. And so I wanted to maybe just invite you to come and introduce yourself and just talk about everything that you're doing. And I want to thank you for coming.
Good evening. My name is Lourdes Sulk, and I'm representing MNNCPPC, the Department of Parks and Recreation in Prince George's County. First of all, I would like to thank Mayor Monica and also her team, because this summer we were able to provide a day camp in this location, and it was very successful. We are looking forward to continue working with you. And also we have so many opportunities, recreational opportunities for the families, for children. I'm sure that if you're not able to afford to have these opportunities for your children, you can ask me for the fee assistance program, which is a discount that is based in the income of the families. So I'm here, I have my business card. I can give you additional information. I speak Spanish. So you're welcome to give me a call. In my business card, I also have my cell phone number. I'm basically supporting the municipalities in this area, but I also oversee 3 community centers. North Brentwood Community Center that is very close to here. I also supervise Langley Park Community Center and Rolling Crest Community Center. We have many activities, aftercare programs, day camps, and special events for all of you. So just reach out to me and I'll be happy to assist you. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for hosting the camp here and for all you do to support the residents in the town. So there were a couple of residents that actually applied for the low cost
Fee assistance?
for the fee assistance that were able to get it. So I just wanted to thank you for your help with that and for the trip to Six Flags. We really appreciate all the support that you've given, but then also the program, Los Quince?
Miss Quince program.
Miss Quince program. I
Yeah.
really love that program, and it's for young men and young women, and they go through this amazing program for 6 weeks?
12 weeks.
12 weeks, okay.
Yes. So they meet for 12 weeks. It's actually starting already on September 24th. So they meet 3 times per week for 12 weeks. And at the end of the program, we have 15 girls that were selected to participate, receiving the final event, the quinceañera, the final event. And our department pays for all the expenses, including the beautiful dress, the tiara, the final party. But also it's a learning opportunity for youth to also get their volunteer service hours for school. So while the girls are getting the fancy dresses, the tiara, and the quinceañera experience, the boys are getting volunteer service opportunities and they are learning also new skills.
Yeah, so thank you. I loved attending
Yes.
and I just love supporting it. So just thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. And we are looking forward to see you also
I'll
in
be there.
December. Yes.
I'll definitely be there.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, so above me, you should be able to see the slides. Do you guys see it? Is it up yet? Okay, so slideshow, current slide. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just share my mayor updates, and then I'll invite the council to share their mayor updates. So as far as meetings, we were visited by the Maryland Municipal League that came to the town. They actually did a little tour of the port towns, but it came to Colmar Manor to learn about us, to actually come and see the space. And so thank you to the council people that were able to come and meet the CEO of MML and the president of MML. I am a board member of MML. So it's great to have them like be here and see our community and support our community. One of the legislative priorities that we had last year was the development of a Gateway Development Authority, and that was funded. So currently, it was actually proposed through Malcolm Augustine. So thank you, Senator Augustine, for that. So what this Gateway Development Authority does is it gives a seat to the mayors of Mount Rainier, North Brentwood, Cottage City, Colmar Manor. I'm not sure if Brentwood's involved in that too. And we have $500,000, and this money gets divided between the towns for different economic development initiatives and projects. So we had our first meeting last week, and I'm super excited about it. And we'll just continue to work as a collective community to improve the Gateway District and the Route 1 corridor and Bladensburg Road. I met with the chief of staff for the Prince George's County State's Attorney, Aisha Braveboy. They are very interested in working with us and are asking us for ideas of discussions that they can have with our towns related to obviously policing and whatnot and legal issues. And so one of the things that I've kind of brought up is alcohol abuse in different communities and kind of how we can support that and also how we can support our youth. Last week, we had the MML board retreat, and that was also a great opportunity to be with fellow mayors and to kind of just advocate for Colmar Manor. One of the things that's happening that I want people to start thinking about and be aware of is this discussion of the maglev. So if you're not sure what the maglev is the train from Japan that they're proposing to build here. It starts in DC, stops in Baltimore, and then goes to New York. And when I first moved into the community, they told us that it was going to go straight through Colmar Manor. Then I was told that it was going to go, they were going to tunnel in the ball fields, have it go under, and then go through the Bladensburg waterfront. They've been quiet for a while, but it seems like they're ramping up plans for this again. And I think this is something that we should all look into and be aware of. And if you have any ideas, any objections, anything at all, just make sure to let us know. Your council member, the town, feel free to call us, email us. As far as administrative updates, if you take a look at the packet, you'll see the grants that we've received. I'm super excited, and I'm super excited to have worked with our town administrator over the grant. What's the title of the grant? The lighting one by the dueling grounds. The money that we received for the light installation.
Yeah, so the council accepted at the last work session, a grant from the Department of Housing and Community Development for placemaking. And it's a street mural over by the dueling grounds. We call it Streets of Solidarity, but it didn't, half the money, it's an $81,500 grant. Half the money is for lighting for that area because it is a very dark area and to help make it more secure. And then the other half is to actually hire a professional artist to come in and do community involvement, engagement, to paint a mural in that very large intersection where 37th and 38th and Newton Street all kind of meet together by the gazebo with the concept of something around the discussion of the senselessness of gun violence. As because it's next to the dueling grounds where over 50 people died from acts of gun violence to solve their problems. And so this is kind of a juxtaposition of that.
I'm super excited to what's going to come out of it. I also want to say thank you to the summer interns that we had. So Iris and her brother were interns along with Justin. And we had someone from the End Time Harvest Ministries, and they were with us from June to August. And a lot of things were accomplished thanks to their help. So I just wanted to thank you guys. Yeah, I wanted to thank you guys for being our summer interns. Yeah, so we're lucky to have had you. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication. In regards to initiatives and projects, we met an hour before this meeting started at 7 p.m. to begin discussing our legislative priorities. So the Senate goes into session in January, and this is the time where the council begins thinking through what can we ask for, what do we need to look at. And so we've had that discussion, and it's an ongoing thing. So if there are any legislative priorities or things that you think we should look into, please contact us, email us, talk to any of your council people, any of the council members. We're also working on a town work schedule. So the town work schedule kind of just plans out what the focus of each work session is so that we can really get a hold of the challenges of our community and the issues that we and the projects that we really want to work on. So I just want to thank the council for their ideas and working on this work schedule along with me. Some of the, oh gosh, is this the right one? Nope. Nope. All right. I'm gonna stop sharing here. So I just wanted to also thank everyone who came out to some of the past events that we've just had. So some of the past events included the National Night Out. So I want to thank Chief Stone and all the staff for putting that together. Thank you for all your work on that. We also had the back to school event where we went ahead and had like a send off for the kids and for the parents. So we were able to give away goodies and say and send the kids off on the bus on the first day of school. So that's always one of the things that I love to do is just wish them well, and we put little messages of support on the pavement for them. So that was pretty cool. And parents, I know that it was difficult, but you know, if you need further support, definitely feel free to reach out to us. I know that a couple of parents had issues registering their kids for school. So I want to actually give a huge thank you and shout out to Melissa and to Ilhan in the office who help parents, many of whom just moved to the community, some of them who don't speak English, be able to get their kids enrolled into school. And it's a challenge, especially when you don't know English. So thank you guys for all your help with that, because I know you spend a lot of time and it's not an easy thing to do, even if you know English. Yeah, so thank you for that. Sorry, I'm gonna reshare my Some of the upcoming events that we have are Colmar Manor Day. That's coming up this Saturday from 1 to 4 at the Larissy Park. We're going to have a group called Chalk Riot that's going to come and do an art installation on the asphalt, and we're inviting the entire community to come out and help us paint it. So that is an art installation that'll be there for the next 3 months. The green team is coordinating a town cleanup. I believe that starts at 8 or 9 in the morning. So make sure to come to the town hall, get your materials to go ahead and clean our town. So thank you for participating. If you've participated before, but make sure to come again. On the 27th, is it, of October or September, that we're having the open house? When is it? The 27th of September? The 27th of September? Oh, October. September. So on the 27th of September, we have our normal open house where we invite the families to come here. We usually have an activity for the parents and the kids. We'll watch a movie. We have some snacks and some food, and then the kids are everyone is able to go into the gym and just enjoy the gym. In October, I'm looking at the 11th of October, hosting a Filipino Heritage Month event. So if you've noticed, we have a big Filipino community, and they've contributed a lot to this community and to the DC region as a whole. So it's a time to celebrate them. We're looking at possibly having a camp night. So if you're interested in learning more about camping, we're looking at camping in Newton Street Park, and we're partnering with Defensores de la Cuenca, which is a local environmental group. So if you're interested, we will either have it on the 5th of October, or we might switch the date, but definitely reach out to us, and all that information is in the newsletter. And then we're going to have our Spooky Autumn celebration on the 26th of October. I want to, sorry.
Having a resource fair?
We were supposed to have a resource fair, but we weren't able to have it. But a lot of community organizations that were going to participate in that are going to come to Colmar Manor Day. But yeah. I want to thank everyone that came out to the Hispanic Heritage Festival. So thank you to Fanny, to Allison, to Fia for coming out. And this is just the beginning of this festival. I really want to thank El Poder de Ser Mujer, who partnered with the town to host this event. It was a beautiful, beautiful event. And it's, again, just one of many to come, especially on that lot. Some pictures here of the Hispanic Heritage Festival. If you take a look at the screen. On the left is the Maryland Municipal League retreat. On the top right is Senator Augustine's district quarterly meeting at the IHOP. On the lower right-hand side, the Maryland Municipal League hosted an affordable housing symposium, which was great. I want to thank Melissa Minturn, who's been coordinating yoga every single day for a 30-day yoga challenge. We've been doing yoga at 6 p.m. I want to thank Ilhan for coordinating a blood drive through the Red Cross. We had about 30 people show up and donate blood. And if you didn't know, there's a shortage of blood. So thank you to everyone that came out. And you'll see the pictures of all the kids going back to school and the send-off that we had. Thank you to the police and Chief Stone always for being there and making sure that the kids are safe. I wanted to again thank Allison, Fanny, and Fia for coming along to tour the Brentwood Fire Department to learn more about their issues and to see firsthand what it is that they do in our community. It's an ongoing discussion, so there are updates to come. And I'll share more information as I receive it in regards to the fire station staffing issues. These are some photos from National Night Out. And then this is the event where the youth council elected their council representatives. So we started the meeting off by talking about how Colmar Manor could be more eco-friendly. They had these elections, and then we ended off with a party in the gym. That was a lot of fun. And just want to thank Eduardo and Ilhan again for just going all out for the kids. And then again, for Ms. Muchler, She had her birthday, her 96th birthday. So her husband was a mayor of Colmar Manor. Mrs. Muchler has lived in town for 7+ decades. So thank you to all the neighbors that came out to help celebrate. We went to her house, we sang her happy birthday, we gave her a cake, and she really loved it. So thank you. And now I will turn it over to council. So I'll go ahead and ask council members to give their council reports. So Ward 1.
I have an alibi. The state's attorney, your bullet number 3, just to further that point, the state's attorney will be having a meet and greet known as the Family Justice Academy here in the town hall, September 28th at 11 a.m. And this will be a perfect opportunity for participants, parents, guardians, and community partners to enjoy delicious food, conversation, and a chance to learn more about Family Justice Academy. And second, I just have one question. The Gateway Development Authority, is that the same as like that nonprofit that was discussed earlier? Or is that separate?
Which nonprofit?
So I remember there was talk about economic development in the community. Is that the same?
No, so the Port Towns Community Development Corporation hadn't been active for a while, so it's in the process of being dissolved. So this is something different.
But this is supposed to take the place of that, right?
No.
Oh, okay. No, I just remember there was some money, there was a vote taken to do to have an exploratory committee or something about that nonprofit that's being dissolved. So I wasn't sure if this was the same thing.
No, so the Port Towns mayors, so for people that may not be familiar, the Port Towns includes Edmonston, Bladensburg, Colmar Manor, and Cottage City. And we will likely set up a new Port Town CDC, but we're still going through the very, very initial steps. So I think that's what you're talking about. And the previous Port Town CDC is in the process of being dissolved.
And that's not this.
No, that's something completely different. This is part of an ask that Malcolm Augustine made, and we were able to get $500,000 and $250,000 in operational money.
That's all right.
Okay, thank you. Ward 2?
Do you have the first page?
Yes.
Okay, it's up there. I can't see with the lights. Is that up there?
Yeah.
I think it's the wrong page.
So you sent me
I
3
see.
pages and I condensed it into one.
Okay. Well, if you see the picture on the left, the woman holding a book. Anyway, she's my monthly spotlight. Her name is Jeanette E. Knights, and she lives in Ward 2. I have a privilege of knowing her, but she's someone I look up to, and I aspire to be more like her. She's an amazing woman. She truly is. And she's the author of a book called How I Get My Highs, Poems to Awaken the Divine Presence Within. And that is available on Amazon and Kindle. It's an incredible book which focuses on being in close contact with our inner source. So if you would like inner peace and meditation, but she really is an example of all of that. She is an amazing woman. We're lucky to have her as a resident of Colmar Manor. And I'm proud that she's in Ward 2. And then I'm wearing this shirt because it has flowers on it. It's the only shirt I have that has flowers. And it's in tribute to Joyce. Joyce, where did you put her picture? She's the top left to the right. That's Joyce Alfred. She also lives in Ward 2. On National Night Out on August 6th, the Colmar Manor Garden Club announced its winner, and it was Joyce Alfred. And congratulations, she won Best Garden. Congratulations. This is in tribute to Joyce and her flowers. And I think you have a picture of her flowers. When you go down 40th place, the beautiful pansies, that's Joyce's home. And then I have a picture because I thought it was great that a lot of people came, a lot of Colmar Manor residents came And they came to the town hall to help design the playground for Yost Park, which is right next to the American Legion. And Kaboom held it. And they had the children and the adults, all of them contribute to the design of the new playground. And Kaboom, the best present, when they do a presentation, they know how to do one because they offered us all ice cream. They brought the ice cream truck. So we got to eat ice cream as we watched the presentation. And Ward 2, we were not, first of all, we didn't have any meetings in August. A lot has happened. We have 3 new residents. The first one, where do you have her picture? Wait. Oh, no, I see the bottom left. That would be Sarah. Sarah moved here about 2 months ago with her husband, Jose. So welcome to Ward 2. And then, I can't see. I think the next picture, bottom, second one to the right, that's my new next door neighbor, Anna and Elizabeth. She came here from Spain. She said she lived in Barcelona and a little bit in Madrid. So welcome to our neighborhood. And then the last picture, bottom, the one to the farmost right, that's also a new neighbor in Ward 2, and she lives across the street from me. Her name is Elizabeth. She let me know that she is a Spanish teacher in the DC public school system, and she is interested in joining our Zumba class here at the town hall every Tuesday and Thursday evening from 7:30 to 8:30. And I just want to say, welcome to Colmar Manor. And then on the last, is there only one page? How did you condense that all? Okay. Do you have my contact information up there? Why? Okay, so my last page is if you do know a neighbor who you would like to highlight, I want you to please contact me. It could be something they have done, if they want to promote the business that they have. And my contact information is on the website because it was on my slide. And then also, I do not have a database. So if you would like me to text or email you with information about upcoming community events, please send me your contact information. And also, please remember to check out our Colmar Manor website at colmarmanor.org. It does have useful information about all things Colmar Manor. And also, if you would like to send me any of your ideas or recommendations about how to make Colmar Manor even more ideal, or if you have suggestions about how to ameliorate the parking situation or anything such as that, which our council will be working on, please let me know. Currently, I'm looking into having a speed bump placed on 40th Place. And at the very end, do you have my pictures for this? No, that's okay, you have pictures. I just had to share the Hispanic Heritage Month. We celebrated that with a festival last Sunday, and I was really impressed. And this is a tribute to the Hispanic residents of our town who make up over 60% of Colmar Manor's population. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Ward 3?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just a few updates I wanted to share. There have been a lot of events and activities since we last met. One thing is that I've received comments from a number of different residents about some concerns and issues happening around town. I've received comments about some noise disturbances, about issues with outdoor lighting, problems with trash collection, parking availability in the town, and issues initially with school enrollment at the beginning of the year. I want to thank residents for their patience as we work through these items. I do take all of these comments seriously. I bring them to the town so that they can be discussed and remediated. These are things that often take time. In some cases, it requires enacting new legislation, which can take an extended process, or it requires coordinating with other government bodies, with third-party vendors, things like that. And so these are all things that are on my radar that I continue to receive and address as best I'm able. And so I thank residents for reaching out to me on this, and I'll continue to do what I can to move these items forward and try to address them as best I'm able. As well, there have been a number of town and local events going on recently. We had our council retreat. At this point, it feels a very long time ago, but we did have our summer break, so it's been a while since we last gathered here. But it was a great opportunity for the council to get together, discuss our strategies and priorities for the year ahead. As well, we had Cottage City Day in our neighbor Port Town across the way. They were celebrating their centennial 100 years as a town. It was a remarkable occasion. I was pleased to be able to participate both in the parade along Bladensburg and through Cottage City, as well as speak at their anniversary ceremony in the afternoon. I want to give a particular thanks to Fred Hill, who is a former commissioner there in Cottage City. He dedicated a poem to the town, and in that he explicitly spoke about the genocide taking place in Palestine and how it is antithetical to the values of the town. And I really appreciate the courage and moral clarity, the empathy and humanity it takes for someone to be able to speak to those injustices taking place in the world. Additionally, I have put together an informal LGBTQ community group. If you're not familiar with this acronym, it stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. This is a group intended to create a safe and fostering community for residents here in town who may identify with any of these identities or others. As well, it is open to residents from other towns with allies who seek to show solidarity with their neighbors and friends. And we've already held 2 meetings. We're planning a couple different more entertaining events for the next couple months ahead. Initially, we were gathering and meeting just for simple support and community conversation. We'll continue to do so, but are also looking to host a movie night, host board games, host potentially a potluck around the end of the year. So I'll have more information about that forthcoming. And then lastly, of course, we are now in Hispanic Heritage Month. On this past Sunday, we had the festival. Everyone's already generally spoken to it. It was a remarkable event. A lot of people came out. There were a lot of wonderful performances, a lot of absolutely fantastic food. And so I really appreciate all of the hard work that went into it, all of the coordination with the different groups. And I was very pleased and honored to be able to take part in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember. Ward 4.
Hi, everyone. So I just have few. I don't have so many. I guess I forgot to put some of them in mine too. So it was few concerns during the time when the kid was about to start school about where the kid was supposed to go and all that. We had a meeting with Monica and the PGCPS administrator, and we discussed about the situation for the kids and all that. It was nice to have that, and thank you, Monica, for create that to get that everything together for us. And I guess some of the parents are fine now, are okay so far. Because some of them they were forced to move to a different location far from here. I was there was one of few residents from my Ward 4. They came to me about asking me about how to get paper ready for citizenship. So I got with Casa Latina Immigration, the special immigration services and all that. So I got the information from them. If anyone need help and all with paperwork for citizenship or resident, you can contact them. The information is also there. I went to few activity like the Cottage City. I attend to those event. The Cottage City 100 anniversary celebration. We also had the Spanish Heritage Month. That was really fun. It was really nice. And we also went to Bunker Hill, the fire station. Monica already mentioned that they're going through a situation, and hopefully, I hope we can do something, or help them to at least support them on something. Also, I was a second for the NOLA Institution on Emergency Preparedness seminar in Houston. So I applied for that. They give it to me, so I'm going to attend that. So I'm leaving tomorrow. So it's gonna be for 2 days. So that's very exciting. This is everything that we're doing in all the seminars and everything is just to help the city. Colmar Manor, because we're here for you guys.
Thank you, council member. Okay, so we're done with the mayor and council member reports and concerns. So I'd like to open it up for resident comments. Please be aware that you have 3 minutes. You can come to the mic, state your name and the street that you live on. If you're joining us online, just raise your hand, and then and then just go off, unmute yourself, and then you can share your concerns. So I'll go ahead and open it up to anybody that wants to come and provide any type of resident comments or concerns.
I'm not very good at public speaking. My name is William Stapler. I've lived here since 1990. My family has been here since 1620. They were at Jamestown, they were at the Caribbean, and they were at Plymouth Rock. My family helped build this country, and they didn't do it by talking. I am fed up with Colmar Manor. I'm fed up with every birthday being treated like the birth of Christ, and every excuse to have a party and disrespect your neighbors with spotlights, with loud music. And then there's the McDonald's between 12 and 4 every Friday and Saturday night. Every other car that comes through there is boom, boom, boom. That's what I hear through my window. I can't open my window and enjoy the fresh air at night ever anymore. I used to, but not in the last several years. Me and Doug got a couple neighbors. They're having events. They're not having normal parties every once in a while. They're having events every Friday and Saturday night with dozens upon dozens of people showing up, keeping us up all night long with spotlights and loud music, and nothing is ever done about it. And I screamed at the chief about it, and I shouldn't, because I should have come here and screamed at you about it a long time ago. But I'm a caregiver for a 90-year-old man, and I work my ass off. And I don't have time to come off of here every other day to complain about it. And the lighting, I can't walk in my backyard and come back in the house without seeing spots for 20 minutes because I got Taco Bell, and I've been complaining to them since 1990 about it, with their spotlight into my backyard. And then now we got our neighbors with the spotlight coming from the other side. I used to be able to go out in my backyard with my telescope and look at the stars, but it's become next to impossible. And then there's the McDonald's light that points right into my window. Nothing, and I've complained about it. I've called corporate offices about it, and nothing's ever done about it. And I'd like you to do something about it. That noise between 12 and 4 every Friday and Saturday night, they need to shut the McDonald's down if that is going to continue. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other resident comments?
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. I'm at the owner 3413 39th Avenue. No, I was just gonna ask if I came to the office and asked about a driveway curb cut, so they told me will be discussed today, so I'm just wondering about that, if it was like.
It's on the agenda.
Okay, all right, thank
Do
you.
you want to say anything about it?
As you know, like we have a shortage of I'm not able to find park. I don't have a driveway and we don't have enough parking spots, and I have 3 kids, and I like was like shopping stuff. I need I'm trying to construct the driveway, so I'm trying to get a permission for the curb cut. I already got the permit from the Prince Georgia County, the site permit. I submit both, so I'm just trying to see where is that for the action. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Doug Bowles. I live on 41st Avenue. First, I want to say thank you to the mayor, the council, and all of the staff. There's a lot of wonderful things happening in Colmar Manor, and it's delightful to see. And there's a lot of sweetness coming off of this council dais, which I find very heartwarming. So I just want to thank you all. I do want to share an additional, to Mr. Stapler, concern with some noise and some lighting issues. I'm glad that the celebration on Sunday was wonderful, but if you had come into my home, you would see that I didn't have to leave my home to participate. It was really quite loud. And so I'm wondering if the council and mayor and staff have considered in the design of Laracy Park any sort of acoustic mitigation with the development of the park for musical events. Is there anything planned for protecting sound from leaching back into the citizens area, the residents area of town at all?
Thank you for that suggestion.
It can be quite expensive. So when you look into it, don't be surprised. Can be quite expensive. I have recordings from inside my home from Sunday that I'm happy to share with you so that you can understand what it is that we're experiencing. The previous weekend, we had a party that in a period of 28 hours, there were 14 hours of music. That's an awful lot to ask someone to put up with. We do have a neighbor with a spotlight. We asked them nicely if they could move it, and we were told we should nail plywood to our home. That's what my partner was told. So that's a difficult answer to deal with. But even with blackout curtains and with blinds, it's coming in. It is on sometimes from dusk until up to 5 in the morning with loud conversations going on in the rear yard, the sounds of beer bottles being dumped into recycling cans at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And in addition to that, I will also echo Mr. Stapler. The McDonald's lights are headed up. These LEDs are extremely bright. If the head is pointed down, which is what county code requires, they still have quite a spread. So I'm not quite sure why these businesses are doing this, but it's causing the light to spread into the residential area. So my front porch, for instance, is always lit. He is correct about McDonald's. My partner comes home around 2 in the morning. It appears what happens is people come to pick up their family members as McDonald's is closing and car radios are turned on with the doors wide open. So it'd be great. McDonald's is a great part of our community. I eat there way too often, but in the middle of the night to have that kind of disturbance is rather difficult to deal with. So just wanted to let you all hear those concerns and thank you for all you're doing. Thank you.
So Doug, when you have those noise, well, first up, I'd love it if you shared those videos with us.
I'll be glad to. And I did call them in. So
You called the police about what?
Yes, for 2 weekends going, I called the police around
About your next
noise,
turn? Okay.
noise that was going on. We called the county about the lighting issue, and we were told that there was nothing that they could enforce. I wish David is unwell. I wish he were here because he was the person that made the call and had the interaction, but he's not feeling well tonight. The county police told us there was nothing they could enforce. And when we asked why, the explanation was because the source of the light is on their property. But if that, by that logic, then noise complaints can't be enforced because the source of the noise would be on their property. So that's an illogical argument. It may be true that there's no county code or local code about lighting, but it's just a neighborly issue. And we approached them in a very kindly manner. And that's what our response was given, was nail plywood to your house. It's not our problem. So there was no confrontation. It was a simple request. So it's difficult. All of us work very hard, and there comes a point where you can't seem to get away from constant stimulation. But KFC's light has been there for years. It's pointing directly into the neighborhood. In fact, there are 2 of them on 2 of the lighting fixtures at KFC. I think they're trying to light the back of their fence, probably for security reasons, but the light comes directly down our way. And I think that Mayor Barrow approached them, or she said she did, and she was told basically to get out. But it's not allowable. I mean, they're not allowed point lights into the residential area. That's covered by county code, as is the noise coming from those properties as well. So, but it is a real issue, and it's getting to the point where sleep is difficult to have. You know, nobody cares if someone has a party for a 5-year-old, but when that party starts at 8 on Friday and goes till midnight and then starts again at 10 a.m. on Saturday, the music is from 10 to 2, then they take a 3-hour break, then it's from 5 p.m. again until 1 in the morning. And it's so loud that the rear part of my house is unusable. So I can't be in my sitting room. David can't be in his room. My upstairs office is completely unusable. So frankly, quite often I'm cloistered in my bedroom with my dog if I want quiet. And even there sometimes. So, and the same thing happened with the celebration on Sunday. I have recordings of that too, if anybody wants
Yeah,
them.
please share those for
I've got
sure.
them because I took them from the front porch, but also inside the house. It's a lot of bleed from Laracy, and sound travels really strangely. Unfortunately, my house seems to act as a filter. So when things happen on the side of me towards Newton, my house seems to absorb them, which I think my neighbors are grateful for. But for me, it's not so comfortable. So,
So I
anyway.
would say just make sure, and this goes for everyone, when you have complaints, call the police line. Make sure to call the police line. And then that gets transferred over. I think you know this.
Police line have
It
been
gets-
called.
Yeah, so please make sure to call the police line, non-emergency line, and it gets transferred over to our police.
Yeah.
Don't text me, don't send me a message, because a lot of the times it'll get delayed. Call the police. They answer a lot quicker than I do, a lot quicker than Greg, a lot quicker than Chief. So make sure to call the police line. And then as far as the Laracy lot, and even when it comes to issues like with the lighting issue that you're having, I just want to thank Councilmember Fia because she's really been on top of it. And I think that, if anyone ever has issues with your neighbors when it comes to noise and parties, first off, make sure to invite your neighbors and make sure that they're aware that you're having a party. And then just please be very mindful of the noise that is created. And there is a mediation, the Prince George's County Mediation Service. So that is something that we can look into. If you don't feel comfortable talking to your neighbor, that might be a route to go through, but then also feel free to call the police and make sure that there's a log of it. But yeah.
We called the police and twice. And actually, when we called them,
I don't know. I'm not saying about you, Doug.
we
I'm
were
just
asked-
saying, I'm just
Well, I
saying, I'm just saying in general.
Understood.
That this is something that the community should know. Just call the
Great.
police.
I just would also like to say, though, that when the police were called, we were asked if they should stop by the house and have a conversation. And we requested that on 2 separate weekends, and they never came.
Can I
So-
ask the question? I don't know at what point. First, thank you for your comment. I think it would be very important for you to take pictures, videos.
All of that's been done, and they've been sent to the code inspector, and they've been sent to FIA, and so everybody's aware.
All right,
Yep.
and then second to that, I don't know at what point the town has the authority to send a notice, like an official notice from the town.
Yeah, so we actually have a noise ordinance. So I think it probably bears looking into, and these are issues that we should really look into and address.
Thank you. And I also would like to thank FIA because FIA has been very responsive to inquiries from me and has taken a good amount of time to respond and have discussions. So I really appreciate you for that. And thanks for starting the LGBTQ group. That's awesome.
So
Thank you,
something-
everybody.
Something else I want to see if maybe in the future we can discuss in terms of having businesses, if there's any way we can influence, legislate around they have like shields for lights that directs the path of travel for lights. If there's anything we can do for businesses to say, hey, you are operating in our town, for all floodlights, you must damper them, or some legislation around control of light flow to the.
Yeah, we can definitely discuss it and put it on. the
County
agenda.
code addresses that, and it says the head should be pointed directly down, which they aren't.
All right, well, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut this off, but thank
Understood.
you for your comments,
Thank
and then
you.
we'll definitely put it on the agenda.
Thanks. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to provide comment? Anyone else online that would like to provide? Oh, do you want to provide? Go ahead.
So would it be appropriate to provide some junior council items at this time?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, good evening, council. Good evening, Colmar Manor, and thank you for selecting me as your first junior mayor of the town. So I would like to make some appointments tonight. So I'd like to appoint Iris as my mayor pro tem, and also Jeshua as my parliamentarian, Amaya as my communications chair, and Soleil as my green team chair, and Jason as my recreation chair. So once again, I plan over the course of my term, I plan on working along with you guys. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm very proud of you and everyone that is on the youth council. So thank you and be prepared because we're going to make you work.
I will. Thank you.
Are there any other resident comments? Okay, so now we're on the action piece of the agenda, number 10. So under unfinished business, we have the Avio contract and then the automated stop sign enforcement. So we'll do the ordinance first, but just as a reminder, residents may provide comments after discussion and before a vote for 1 minute. So I'll pass it over to Greg, the town administrator.
So yes, these two items are relatively connected together, but the ordinance should be first. So the ordinance with number O-1-2025 amends our speed and red light camera enforcement ordinance to include stop sign monitoring systems, fines, and related fees. So if the town, well, for the residents, so they know, in the last legislative session, the Prince George's County legislative, what do you call them? Oh my God, what did they call it? Yeah, the Prince, anyway, PG County is the only county in the state that's allowed to have stop sign enforcement cameras. These would be automated cameras that would detect if someone goes through a stop sign and doesn't stop. A police officer actually has to review the footage before any citation can be issued. But these are much like the red light cameras or speed cameras that we're used to, but they're applied towards stop signs. So this ordinance, as introduced at the last work session, would put that into town code. It doesn't mean that we are 100% doing that. It gives us the power to do it if we so decide to. And that's where the second item comes in with the contract.
I move to approve the contract.
So we're doing the ordinance first.
Oh,
Sorry, I
ordinance,
moved
sorry.
it around on you. Yeah.
I move to pass the ordinance 0101-2025.
You gotta do, and they all have to discuss.
Okay.
Also, we need a second.
Oh, you're gonna second?
Councilmember Emirates, I'll second that motion.
So I'll go ahead and open it up for discussion. If there's no council discussion, I'll go ahead and open it up to resident comment. Is there anyone online that wants to comment? Okay, so I'll go ahead and call a roll call vote. So Ward 1. Ward 2.
Aye.
Ward 3.
Aye.
Ward 4. Aye. Mayor votes aye. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Avio contract.
So this is the contract with, being proposed with a company called Avio. We've had presentations with them in the past. They have AI cameras that not only do stop sign enforcement, but other things, and can do a lot of analysis of traffic issues, pedestrian issues oriented with traffic. But with that, they also have a stop sign monitoring and automated enforcement system. Right now, they're the only firm that we're aware of that can do that, is certified to actually do that. We do have a test monitoring site. They've been doing this for a few months with some rotating monitors throughout town. At the 3 locations that we've been testing, 85% of cars that are at those stop signs actually go through the stop sign. And so this is one pole. We have one pole installed to do just the AI monitoring that doesn't necessarily have the automated enforcement, but can. This is the contract that would put that into place if you all pass it.
Yeah, I move to approve the contract.
A second.
Okay, I'd like to open it up for discussion.
Yeah, Councilmember Emirates Ward 3, I have some questions about the fees associated with the program. So first off, initially it talks about a leasing and maintenance fee that's $1,000 per month per unit. And it says that the program is cost neutral, but subject to the installation and maintenance costs. And so I just want to confirm that we're not going to be paying $12,000 a year per unit, regardless of how much or little revenue the program is generating, and that this is actually cost neutral. Do we know this for certain?
Yes, from what in the discussion with Avio and as we reviewed it with the attorney, that is the case, that it is so the $1,000 rental, so to speak, rental fee or leasing fee is how they capture their fees. But it rotates, it rolls over per month, but all of the payment comes from the actual infractions. And so if the infractions aren't meeting that, then there is no cost to it.
Okay, and just to confirm as well, it's the $1,000 a month per unit, and then in addition, they also charge $10 per processed violation. So it'll be $1,000 per unit plus $10 per violation.
Correct.
We'll pay to them.
Correct. That comes out of the fees that are paid, the citation fee.
Okay. And then I was also just curious, there's the $15,000 fee for the movement of a non-productive camera, of a camera that is not generating revenue. There's a $15,000 fee to move that camera that is not generating revenue.
Yeah, they don't want them moving it from one ourselves, yeah.
No, that's not what it's about.
If it's not productive, we can't just move it. If we moved it ourselves, there's a 15, they have to do it for 15,000. Yeah, I'll talk to him about that. I mean, once it's there, you can't
Yeah,
move it.
so, yeah, so my understanding with that is that if they, how did they put it to?
Because what I'm
I'm trying
understanding
to
from the
remember what-
contract is that
trying to remember
Avio,
the discussion.
Avio determines whether or not a camera is non-productive, and a non-productive camera is one that is generating insufficient revenue. And so this seems to me that we would then be assessed a massive fee for them to then move the camera that is not generating revenue.
But based on, so you said right now there'll be an AI one posted, like an AI camera posted that will not necessarily capture charge infractions.
Correct, yeah, so the camera still will provide the AI services and the other analysis that goes on. So this is only if the device is taken down and moved.
So with
And
this-
so
with
with
this-
that, they're trying to take back their costs of actually having the pole and taking it, putting it somewhere else.
So with
my
with
understanding.
the pole being established, but not generating citation infractions, will we still be responsible for the $1,000 a month?
No, because it would be because that's only for the infractions, for the citations.
I just want to make sure that the
Mhm.
$1,000 a month isn't to have the hardware, the pole, and the AR camera established in a specific site. Because I think it makes sense if it is based on the data we already derived. We put it in a location that is recommended based on the data that we collected. And once it's established, it begins to make that specific area safe by providing citations for infractions, which would make the $1,000 a month neutral. Like
Sure.
neutral. But if we are establishing something that is not going to generate citation infractions, then we would just be putting the $1,000. We would just be paying $1,000 a month just to have the AI system in place.
So I would be fine if you want, just to get clarification on those, because I don't want to mislead you all either. I want to get their specifics on that, and make sure that it's not. Because we passed the ordinance, it still takes 30 days for that ordinance to even take effect. So the contract doesn't have to be done exactly tonight.
And can you also ask what the calibration fee is?
Calibration.
It's an annual calibration fee. It doesn't ever say how much it is. It just says annual calibration check. Is it free or do we have to pay? That's on page 97 of 127, annual calibration check.
And so I think with that $15,000, if we establish a specific corner, intersection, stop sign to house this, and people find out that people become safe and stop at that stop sign, and it no longer generates income or generate citations that will generate income to augment the fees. If we decide to move it to another corner, then we would pay that $15,000. So at some point, we should really consider what happens when we obtain our desired end goal, which is safe stop signs.
Okay. Well, I think it's going to generate more income by that point. I think that the studies that they do help us decide where to put it. There's studies done beforehand, correct?
Yeah, we already had that.
Yeah.
We've already had that.
So
Yeah,
can we vote?
so-
Because we're in discussion right now. So we're in the middle of discussion.
We're fine.
So I'd like to request a motion to table.
TJ Jenkins make a motion to table the discussion until we receive enough information to make an informed decision. At some point in the future, do I need an exact date?
Nope. You're just
Period.
making a motion to table, yeah. Can I get a second on the table?
Fanny Roque, second.
Open it up for discussion. Okay, I'll go ahead and ask for just a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay. I like to just move forward with this.
You're the one that brought up the calibration fee.
Yeah, but that's just a question to ask, but I agree with the contract. I read it. I agree with it. I think we should sign it. So I guess I would be a nay.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. We're good, but
Okay.
thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is new business.
Wait, excuse me. Can I do one thing for unfinished business myself? Make a motion?
You,
Can I? That's unfinished?
yeah, so we already did the unfinished
I'm-
business.
Oh, I thought we were still under unfinished business.
We just finished it. Like, we just finished it.
If you want to add something to the agenda, you need to do so before. the
Oh,
meeting.
sorry.
Is it something that's on the agenda now?
It was something we talked about, AEDs. What's that? I can't hear you.
That we could bring it up at the October work session.
Okay, because I thought we could do it here somewhere, but I guess not.
Yeah, it's just a couple weeks if you're okay with that.
It's fine. My Zoom ball survived.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hopefully I won't need it.
I know. Okay, so under new business, we have the fiscal year 2024 budget transfers.
I guess I'll take that. So you have in your packet a spreadsheet that compares the fiscal year ending numbers for the period July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. These are the numbers that were submitted for the audit, so they should be the year-end numbers. I'm not anticipating any additional changes to them. With the exception of one revenue line item, there'll be additional monies for highway users. I have not seen the calculation of that yet, but I anticipate it to be about $11,000. But with the addition of that, all of the revenue items you see and all the expenditure items you see in column 1 of the spreadsheet should be what the final figures are for the fiscal year 24. You also see in column 2 the budgeted amount for each of those revenue and expenditure accounts. And then column 3 is the difference between the budget and the actual for the period. So it's customary at the end of each fiscal year to make budget adjustments, cover any budget overages. We try to do our best during the year to make motions and account for those. At the end of the year, once we do final adjustments and everything, there's always some accounts that may differ a little from the budget in most cases. So the last column of the spreadsheet shows the adjustments that should be made in order to bring those accounts in the budget. Our charter says that we can't exceed budget amounts unless approved by the council. So this is kind of a cleaning up of the budget at year end so that when the audit report is issued, that we are in compliance with our charter. So most of the items that are over budget, we try to cover the shortfall from other accounts within that department. So for general government, police, public works, recreation, building maintenance, so forth. For the ones that can't, we try to pull from other items. There are 2 accounts in the revenue side, which are, my page here, which is shown on page 1 of the spreadsheet. You can see income taxes. We're increasing the revenue there by 30,000. We had originally anticipated receiving 125,000 in the budget. We exceeded that by $30,041. So I want to budget an additional 30,000 in the revenue for that line item. And then about 2/3 down the page, account 4160 rental income. That's for rental of the town facilities here. That came in over budget by about 25,000. So I'd like to use an additional 5,890 of that on the revenue side. Other than that, the expenditures are being covered from within the departments that the expenditure is incurred. So with that, I'll turn it over for any questions. If you have any specific questions on any of the items. As I said, if you look at page 3, for instance, general government, there's 7 or 8 items that are over budget. All of them are less than $1,000 with the exception of the website maintenance. And we're taking the majority of that money from salaries, general government to cover the shortfalls there. And you can follow that logic through to the other departments and see which ones are over budget and where we're moving those funds from. So hopefully, I know this is probably the first time for all the council members that you've had this, but this is something that we do each year at this time.
Okay, I, Allison Pages, move that we approve the budget transfers as recommended by the clerk treasurer and the spreadsheet provided for the final fiscal year 2024 budget transfers.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, so now we'll open it up for discussion.
Yeah, so just curious, starting at the beginning with the income and the adjustments that were made there, what is the reason that the adjustments don't align with the overage? So for income taxes, why was it adjusted by 30,000 instead of 30,041.14? And for rental income, why was it an overage of about 26,000 and was only increased or adjusted by about 6?
Good questions. Because we only needed the total of those two amounts of the adjustment, $35,890, to cover the expense overages that are not covered from other items. So if you look at page 8 of 8, the last page of that spreadsheet, you'll see in the far right column, almost near the bottom, that same figure of 35,890, which is the amount of expenditures that have not been expenditure overages that have not been covered within the expenditure account. So, we need the additional $35,890 in order to cover that overage. So we increased the revenue amounts by that amount.
Okay, and just to confirm as well, because of those overages and income, this is not an additional $35,000 that we had to expend. It was essentially just reallocating between cost centers.
For most of the items that are covered within the departments, yes. For the additional $35,890, it was additional revenue that we brought in that's covering those expenses. And just to give you a kind of a preview of what the final audit report will show, it will show that we have about a $50,000 surplus for the year. So when you analyze, if you go through all the revenue accounts and the expense accounts, you'll see that on the revenue side, we were over budget, or it took in an additional about $102,000 over what we had projected. And some of the bigger items were the income tax. We had personal property tax. If you're looking at page 1 of $27,000 received over budget. We had rental income of 25,000. We're only using 58 of that. Interest income was 14,000 over. Laracy Park was 3,000 over. So if you take all those, we actually did very well revenue wise and took in more money than what we had budgeted. So we're using 35,000 of that to help cover some of these overages and expenses. And then when you go through the expense side for each department, most of the departments overall were under budget. So you have more revenue on the revenue side, and you've expended less overall for the department side. I'm anticipating that in the general fund, we're going to actually see a surplus this year when we had originally budgeted a deficit.
Thank you.
I just have a follow-on question to that. How, for my own knowledge, how is it possible for us to under budget for the income of real estate tax and personal property tax if it's a known number?
Income tax is not really a known. I mean, that's one of the revenue items that's harder to project. The state gives us a estimate based on the state as a whole, but each little municipality or each municipality is a little different economic wise. Like the town of University Park is only residential property. So what happens in the state that has a lot of commercial property and things like that really wouldn't apply. So when you kind of take the state's estimate of what they see the projections being, it would be different. So Colmar Manor, also has a different makeup as well. So I usually use historical data, what we've collected over past years to kind of project where I think we're going. If I know, there's revenue being lost because a property such as where the church is turns from a commercial property, which generates tax, to a nonprofit that doesn't, then for real property, the rate's going to go down. We're also not going to see income from that type of business because it doesn't generate income. So I try to take past history to project income taxes, and then any relevant data that we have, I factor that in as well. I think this may show that we have more people making higher incomes in town now. I mean, because it's based on a percentage, it's 17% of the county tax liability of all residents within Colmar Manor, or 8.5% of the state tax paid, whichever is higher. And I believe it's usually the 8.5% of state tax is higher than the 17% of county. So it's done by a formula. So to me, I think it's a good thing. I think showing income of residents is higher this year than what we had anticipated.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have lumped in personal tax with real estate tax, but I would imagine it's a similar calculation.
Yep. So for the personal property tax, that's actually something that I realized during the year. So the Compare Foods has not been paying personal property tax since they started there. Their certification has actually been given to Cottage City. It took me a while to track it down, but we have basically charged them back taxes since they started here, and they are paying that. They paid part of it in lump sum, and they're paying the additional amount over time. So the majority of that increase is related to 3 years of prior year's taxes on the Compare Food property.
And then lastly, I think I heard you say we are taking from some line items that may not need the budgeted funding right now to augment where we have gone over.
Yes.
In other places. This is just for, again, personal knowledge. Hopefully you and have gotten together so that none of those line items pop up in the future as needing resources because we may have depleted that particular line item.
Yeah, so these budget adjustments are for the fiscal year ended June 30th of 2024. So as we, so none of this will affect, moving it around will affect the fiscal year 25 budget. Next year we'll be doing this again. Hopefully, we do a good job of managing the budget during the year, that there aren't as many adjustments at the end, but again, they're not huge amounts. Like said, most of these accounts are under $1,000. So, we try to keep a close eye on the budget and manage it, day to day during the year.
Okay, are there any other discussion items? If not, I'd like to go ahead and call a vote. Let's do a roll call vote. So Ward 1, Ward 2.
Wait, what was the question?
We're taking a vote on accepting the budget adjustments.
Yes, sorry.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4. Aye. Mayor votes aye. Okay, and next up on the agenda is the
grant.
The acceptance and budgeting of the GOC PP PAC grant of 35,000.
It's computer software.
All right, this is another grant that we just received for the police department. We had 21 days from the receiving this letter to accept it. Grant is a police accountability, community, and transparency grant. What Chief Stone and I did was apply for Lexipol, which is a system that provides training, but almost more importantly, goes through their general orders, makes it electronic for one, but it also puts it in and looks at it sort of like our codification did, where it looks to see if it's up to date, if it's a modern general order, if it's what kind of national trend is, things that have been fought in courts, and adjusts that. And so that's what that system would do. But then it also allows us to get new body cameras for the police department. These body cameras would be an upgrade from what we have, because they also allow for, what do you want to call it? Remote viewing, I guess you could call it. So Chief Stone would actually have access to the camera sort of as a live feed, if need be.
Councilmember TJ Jenkins, I move to accept the $35,000 grant allocation or funding as presented.
And the oh, and the budget, I'm sorry.
As presented.
Is there a second?
Danny Roque, second.
I'll open it up for discussion. Is there any discussion?
Just one quick question. It mentions that it's gonna fund the purchase of body cameras. Is there then an ongoing maintenance cost for those items? And do we know what that cost would be?
What I wanted to add was that when we made the application, it was much larger in the application, and a lot more bells and whistles with the body camera system. So we have to meet with them and see how we can fit what they have with this budget. I think 69 comes to mind. It was close to like 70,000 that we applied for, but that got cut in half. So we have to try to fit both Alexa pole and body cameras into the 35 and see what we can get for that.
So that number for the maintenance costs is going to kind of be dependent on that, but it's also, it's kind of worked into a lump kind of lease, I guess you would call it. So the maintenance costs, so this would cover several years worth of the camera itself, but also the software, the maintenance, those types of things.
Is there currently a policy on when police officers in Colmar Manor should turn on their body cameras, or do we follow state or county?
Essentially mirror the county, but it's supposed to be whenever you have a citizen's contact, like call for service, a traffic stop, the citizen can ask that you not record it, but almost everything gets recorded.
I'll have to remember that. That was embarrassing.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'll call a roll call vote. So Ward 1,
Aye.
Ward 2,
Aye.
Ward 3,
Aye.
Ward 4,
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Okay, and then the third to last item is the request for the curb cut at 3413 39th Avenue.
So just as to present it to you, this was a request from the resident. It appears that she's left. The only thing that I would point out that I don't know if this makes a determination or a change, Chief, maybe you have some feedback, but it does say that it's an existing gravel driveway on their permit, which is clearly not the case because just about a month ago, it was a brick wall and dirt. So I don't know if that affects the permit or not.
Can I give a little bit of background on that, if you don't mind? And I know that there's a need for parking, and in this particular house, there was not a previous driveway. And I'm probably don't object to the town doing the curb cut. I'd say with the caveat, and it probably goes without saying, that they follow all county codes, town codes. Within the last 6 months, or 6 months ago, there was no, I wish she was here to hear this, but there was a wall there and the wall was leaning. She started to take down the wall, and we cautioned her about taking down the wall, that she should get a permit. She should get engineer, because there's a lot of dirt up there. I said, you may weaken your foundation, etc. If you have to reconstruct it, you're gonna have to get permits. It's not, you just can't put up cinder blocks. She assured me that she was not doing a driveway, she was just taking down the wall. Then the dirt disappeared, and I spoke with her personally, and she said she was not building a driveway, she's just taking out the dirt. Then the gravel appeared, and she assured me she was not building a driveway, she was just putting gravel down. Now, according to this, they're replacing their gravel driveway, which wasn't there 6 months ago. I understand the need for a driveway and all that, and not really objecting, but I don't know that she's been quite upfront with everything up to this point. And it's, be noted on there, it says that the driveway, I think, is 16 by 22, yet the surveyor says there's 21 feet of space there. So
21 feet.
As a point of order, am I only to have discussion about this once we put it on the floor, or can I have discussion prior to?
I would say let's just,
Can we adjourn this?
yeah, we can either table it and put it to the work session as a discussion item. We can ask for a motion and then open up to discussion and then vote. It's up to you all.
Wait, hold on. Before we decide that, I think this might be a pressing issue for them if they're going to apply for permits and
They've
whatnot.
already applied for the permit. Which is why.
I'm just asking, I didn't take notes when she was talking. Is this a pressing issue for them?
Can I make a motion and then we have this discussion, whether we're going to table it? Councilmember Jenkins, I move to accept approving. Wait,
What are you looking to do?
I would like to have discussion about this, but I don't know if it's appropriate for me to have it before we make a motion.
The request is for.
And that's, right. I make a motion to approve, review the curb cut application or request submitted to the town for approval or not approval.
Is that correct?
Do I have to make an affirmative? Motion?
So we're just talking about, in general, curb cut.
You could move the reject.
I move to accept the request for curb cut for driveway at property 3413 39th Avenue.
To accept it, Jake. I second the motion.
Okay, so now it's open for discussion.
All right. So I have experience with permitting in the county. So one, she's already been approved for permit for the driveway. So I think the question I have is every time that someone needs a permit approved, or excuse me, an action approved through the town, do we have to go through this exercise? Or can we delegate that authority to our, what is his position? Code enforcement.
Fairly?
Because the county is not, we don't have to pull any other permit for apron or.
No, so
curb cut.
the issue is it's the curb cut. So that's the right of way. So you, the town that owns the right of way, are making a decision on whether or not you want that cut there for that
Yeah.
permanently to be a driveway.
But for like.
That's what you're approving.
I get that. I'm just asking the question. So
I don't-
I too have a permit approved for a driveway to resurface my driveway. It said there, to your point, Chief, at certain stages throughout the process, you need to have, coordinate with the county to have the inspection of the gravel, the rebar, the concrete pour. It says if you require any apron work, coordinate with the town, which this would be creating an apron in the town.
Yeah, but that's not what you're approving.
I'm approving the curb cut to create an apron.
The apron is separate from the curb cut.
So what is?
You're literally approving the strip of the curb that's
Right.
gone so a car can go
Right.
up and down on a driveway.
That's the apron.
But it's the curb cut before you get to the apron. So the code enforcement can deal with the curb or with the apron portion. The issue
Oh.
is you are authorizing
Just the curb
basically in
cut.
perpetuity that that curb is no longer a solid curb. They now are allowed to have a cut there to have a driveway, whether or not they even put in an apron.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Because right now, they don't even have a driveway. Like, she technically can't park on the gravel
Yeah, but when they.
without that curb cut. Because then you're parking in your yard.
I guess I'm still confused of whether or not we are. So, all right, so my situation, I already have an apron. Would I then need approval to cut the curb to run my drainage from the sump pump through the curb? Or could that be approved via the code enforcement?
If you were just if you were just replacing your apron, you would just have to, you would have to get town's approval, but that would just be done through administrative.
Not,
Yeah, if you were doing a curb cut for drainage, you would probably, that's not really a curb cut. is it?
Like the city of College Park, you have to go to them to get
That's
a
not, yeah,
permit.
that's not really a curb cut as much as it is.
It will be a curb cut.
That probably addressed in our water or stormwater management ordinance that we did. It might be in there for that. But if without in her current situation, if she were to, she's got the permit for the driveway and put it in and everything was fine with the county, she can't drive over the sidewalk in the present condition. That's where the town ordinance can't drive over the sidewalk. So she would have to get the curb cut and put an apron in there as well. That's what this part is for. So oftentimes, not that we get that many of these, usually what the hangup is that they exceed their lot coverage when they put it. She didn't have a driveway before, so I think I didn't do the measurements, but she's probably under that percentage, whatever that is. Most homes, when they're widening a driveway or extending it, it gets into exceeding that lot coverage, and then it has to come to the town for a variance. And most of the time, the town just says, yes, go ahead with it. And the county approves.
And then the second part of this is, as we move forward in approaching our rental properties, as the landlord who's coming here, if we suspect that her property is being rented also, is now a time to deny that until they are in accordance with all the rules of the town in
Oh, wait,
terms of rental?
excuse me, curb cuts are curb cuts. It has nothing to do with rentals.
Has
Like,
everything to do with the structure.
no, well, I would like to just suggest one thing. When we're looking at our parking situation next month, I think it's incumbent upon us to consider letting any resident that wants a curb cut to have a curb cut, because the more driveways we have, the better the parking situation. That's my opinion.
So I have a question. So I remember 2 years ago, one of the things that we voted on was a curb cut for another resident that had applied for it, and the council at that time didn't approve it. So what's the purpose? Yeah, it was, we put a bond. So what does that mean when you put a bond on it?
So if it's the teacher, I think you're referring to the teacher. So she already had a driveway. She extended her driveway into the grass, but there was no curb cut. So whenever they pulled in, they had to pull off to the left to get into that parking area. They wanted to widen it so they can back out without hopping the curb every time. The council ended up approving it, but with the qualification that she had to meet bonding requirements. They also had a water meter was located there. And so it had to follow county, and WSSC rules around replacing all the concrete, et cetera. And then a bond, which is essentially insurance that the work being done was up to code and the town wouldn't have to do anything about it because that apron then is in the town's right of way. And so as we just saw in the $455,000 we spent in the past year on concrete, we've had to replace aprons because we ultimately kind of take responsibility for those.
So then my follow-up question would be, when it comes to curb cuts in general, even on my block, I've seen that people have created driveways and have never necessarily gotten approval for them. So are we more inclined to say yes to these curb cuts and to the construction of these driveways to alleviate the parking situation in town? Or does it include like the aesthetics of how things look? Does it deal with like property value? Is it all of the above? Like, what does this all entail?
I would say that's a political question. That's a you decision internally for each one of you, because yes, you could have a whole block that doesn't have, hypothetically, a whole block that doesn't have driveways or very small lots. As you see, there's only 6 feet on each side of the house. They can't put it to the backyard. Do you want concrete pads in front of every single person's house, or do you want to see greenery? That's up to you.
May I just say
I would say a driveway probably adds value to the home. I mean, you have to weigh those things. Is it going to cause more rain to run off to our streets? Probably. But, one off, I don't know if that's really going to be that big of a deal. Yeah.
You want to say something?
I deal with this as a real estate agent. One of my clients had a house in College Park. You have to go to the town of College Park and ask for the curb cut. It is something that towns do. Now, it all depends also if it's an historical district or not, but it is the purview of the town to make that decision. It has to be. Aesthetics, that is another thing. That is a different thing than a curb cut. It has nothing to do with curb cuts. They're two separate issues in real estate. They're not connected. But that is also something, if you want to discuss, that's a whole different can of worms. That's all I want to say.
So also, there's a note here that says, due to change in slope, retaining wall may be required. And any retaining wall 2 feet and higher requires a permit. I don't know how maybe the county, when they come out to do an inspection, will require a retaining wall based on the remaining dirt that's not being concrete over. But that would also take the good faith of the resident to coordinate with the county to have them come out. And considering they did not do that with you guys, at least through discussion, I don't know where we stand in that one. But I do think driveways will assist with the parking on the street. The second thing I would like to know is, you want to go ahead before I go my second thing? Oh, the second thing I would like to note is I had work done on my home. When the county inspector came out to do the inspection, they said I require permits for other things that was done without permit prior to me moving in the house. So if they never coordinate with the county to get a retaining wall, if required, when the next person moves into that home, they may be forced to get a retaining wall because this person did not do it. And so the reason why I brought up rental properties is because this may be a good opportunity as we receive these requests from folks to look at the current standing with the county, with the town, to see if they are compliant with all of our rules, right? Not just the ones they agree with, but all of them in terms of code enforcement.
So here's my suggestion. The house has been around for 100 years without a driveway. I don't think they have a super need for it in the most immediate future. So take a couple weeks. We can bring it up at the work session or even the next council meeting, because to the point about the retaining wall, I do kind of have a concern, because if you see on the drawing, there's 2 sets of stairs. That second set of stairs, both those stairs are going to have a retaining wall on the left-hand side where the driveway is going to be. And so that second set of stairs looks well over 2 feet to me. So they're probably going to have to get a permit, period. So my thought is, if they're going to need a permit for that, then maybe they should apply for that permit in conjunction with this before we approve. But it's a retaining wall. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It says that if it's over 2 feet, they have to get permits. They don't have permits for that yet.
Neighbors next door.
Same situation that we're in, where maybe they call to get a permit for the retaining wall, or maybe they're just satisfied with not having to get a retaining wall permit if required.
Yeah, I don't know how they couldn't do, because they're taking up the full 16 feet from the property line to the stairs, which means there has to be a wall that has to be put in.
We can find them. You can say you can't continue to work without a permit. Can't you do stop order?
Well, not if they do the driveway, which they have a permit for, the concrete cut, which they have a permit for, and walk away from the job.
And then you're left with a gravel pit
Yeah.
and they can't park on it, or potentially a concrete pad. They could lay the concrete because they have a permit for it and not use it and try to hop the curb all the time.
Also, what we don't.
You want to connect it with the curb cut and say, yes, you can.
I would
the
say we just
construction of the
table it
driveway must
until
be
the
done.
next meeting and have them address that. Because I also want them to address the 21 feet because that's not true. I mean, they literally put 22 feet and it says 21 feet on the opposite side from the survey you're drawing.
All right.
And if you could, when we did the one on Newark Road and the surety bond, it should be, it's an important part of this. If they were to start the project, only do half the project, leave you a gravel sidewalk and say, oh my goodness, this costs too much, I can't afford to finish it, then we're stuck with fixing that. So have them put up a bond, a returnable bond, but one until they complete the project in a satisfactory manner, at least the sidewalk and curb cut.
So I think that's an interesting point. If we do approve with this bond contingency, then they can go ahead and make that curb cut. But if it's I don't know what the bond reasonable price would be, then they don't receive it back. I think the challenge here is, will we, maybe we should table it because I don't know if we will. I would imagine that whoever's laying the concrete will probably put a retaining wall just without the permit. They would just do it cheap without the permit and that would be it. They will walk away. So I think it is fair for them to address it at the next work session.
Okay, so to recap, we're saying curb cut in this instance, yes, with two contingencies. One, a bond contingency, and number two, the retaining walls done with all the acceptable permits, correct?
No, I think
Is that what we're saying?
I think we are moving to table this for our next work session, inviting the resident to give us their plan of completion.
Yeah, and then we're gonna ask for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I
This is
drove
what it
by.
looked like last month. Like, this is literally what it looked like last month. And so what they told me was that they weren't doing the driveway. The same thing they told you. They said, we're not doing the driveway. They said, we only want to fix the wall because it's falling apart. And I said, okay, but just be careful. Just make sure that you do everything, that you get the permits that you need, because you share a fence with your next door neighbor. And they have a driveway. So, and when Greg is talking about the stairs, like that's definitely higher than 2 feet.
Yes.
So that's my concern. But I leave it up to you. If there's a recommendation to table.
Councilmember Emirates, I make the motion to table this until our next council work session.
Fanny Roque, second.
So I'm gonna request, what? Yeah, just a voice vote. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you. Then the last item
No,
is,
that is the last one.
yeah, there's 2 more items. So
No, there isn't.
the last item before we go into a closed session is the 2 additional grants and, oh, who wasn't there yet? Okay, so adding back into the budget for FY 25, line item 5198 for the Larry C. Park expense, and then line item 5917, DHCD Business District Safety Grant.
So this is similar to what we had at the work session with the other grant. They were just inadvertently left off. They've already been accepted and we've already been spending money. However, I can't spend any more money out of those grants until we put them back in the budget. So this is just reinserting back in.
I move to everything Greg just said, accept this into the budget. Where we look, I move to add line 5917 DHCD safety grant expense line in the amount of $33,722.20 and create a corresponding income line in the FY25 budget.
Councilmember Emirates, I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
Just a quick question. It says for that grant that it needs to be spent down by November 29th. Are we gonna be able to spend that $33,000 by November 29th?
Don't challenge Greg.
Okay, so I'm just gonna call for a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Great. So now we need a motion for the 5198 Lyracy Park expense.
Yeah,
And
Councilmember Thea Emirates, Ward 3, I moved line 5198 Lyracy Park expense line in the amount of $20,359 and create a corresponding income line in the FY25 budget.
Is there a second?
I second. Allison Page, a second.
Okay, so now I'll go ahead and open this up for discussion. If there's no discussion, I'll call for a voice vote.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. And that is the last item on the agenda. There was a request for a closed session to discuss a personnel matter. So I'd like to request a motion to go to closed session for a personnel item.
Councilmember Emirates, I'll make the motion to go into a closed session to discuss a personnel issue.
Is there a second?
Fanny Roca, second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. So we're going into closed session.
Here?
We have to wait till Chief logs off of Zoom.